Good morning, everybody. Notice is hereby given of a special board meeting of the Board of Education of the Town of Westfield in the County of Union, New Jersey at 8 a.m. on Monday, on the morning of Thursday, August 15th, 2019, in the boardroom of the Administration Building, 302 Elm Street, Westfield, New Jersey. The purpose of the meeting is to transact the regular business of the board and to transact any other business to come properly before the board. This is to advise the general public and to instruct that it be recorded in the minutes that in compliance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975, entitled the Open Public Meetings Act, the Westfield School Board on Thursday, August 8, 2019, caused to be posted at the office of the Board of Education, located at 302 Elm Street, Westfield, New Jersey, and delivered to the Westfield Leader, the Star Ledger, the Westfield Library, Town Clerk of Westfield, Tap into Westfield, and Patch.com, and a meeting notice setting forth the time, date, and location of the meeting. Dana, can we have a roll call?
Michael Beelan.
Here.
Ken Diamond.
Here.
Brendan Galligan.
Here.
Robert Garrison.
Here.
Brian Morrissey. Gretchen Olig. Tara Porto.
Here.
Peggy Oster.
Here.
Amy Root.
Thank you. Yeah, would you like to lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Under personnel? Sure. Okay. I do have one announcement. I just want to remind everybody that we're going to be back in session, our regular session, and our next board meeting will be held on Tuesday, August 27th at 7:30 p.m. at 302 Elm Street, right here. And the complete agenda of the meeting will be available on Friday, August 23rd, under the board tab on the district website. Anybody else? Okay. At this time, I'd like to recognize the public for any agenda items only. Seeing nobody come forth, I'd like the board to approve the minutes of the board meeting held on July 18, 2019, and the private minutes of July 18, 2019. So a second. Ken? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any questions?
I have to abstain.
I'd like the board to consider personnel items number 1 till 22. Brendan, do you have any questions?
I'd just like to make a comment. Mrs. Ty is retiring. Maya's had her all 3 years in the classroom with her at Wilson, one of her favorites, although you're not supposed to really say that. But I have to say, I volunteer a lot in the school, and I've seen Mrs. Ty at work, and she's a pretty fantastic person, so she'll be missed.
Thank you.
And I wanted to speak to item number 19, personnel item 19. Recommends to the board that the new assistant principal for Roosevelt Community School will be Mr. Keith Brunson. Some of you might remember that our very last board meeting, which wasn't that long ago, the board approved my recommendation for the principal of Roosevelt School, Mr. Brian Geckman. The very next day, once he was approved, Mr. Geckman started to assemble his search committee so that we could move quickly on finding a replacement for assistant principal position. And I note that some of the members of the search committee are present here this morning, so thank you for being here. Mr. Brunson comes with a long academic educational background, working mainly in Piscataway as a teacher for a number of years, and also as dean of students. The committee was very pleased with his interviews and felt as though he really is going to be a great match for Roosevelt. He has experience in advisory, he works with character education, and he understands that part of his role is being a role model as well as an educational leader. So I'm very pleased to recommend to Keith Brunson to be the assistant principal for Roosevelt.
Congratulations. So at this time, I'd like to take a vote on the personnel items.
Michael Beelan.
Yes.
Kent Diamond.
Yes.
Brendan Galligan.
Yes.
Robert Garrison.
Yes.
Brian Morrissey.
Yes.
Tara Porto.
Yes.
Peggy Oster.
Yes. Well, thank you. First we had to vote you in first. I'm getting this down after a couple of replacements we've had recently. I'm very excited. I think there was a great search committee, and I understand there were a lot of applicants and so forth, so you really must have rose to the top of the group. Westfield is a great district, and we're very happy to have you. So would you like to say a couple words?
Sure.
Great.
I'd like to thank the board for this opportunity. Thank you for moving me. As I think about Westfield, a lot of what I know comes from somebody that you all know very, very well, Dr. Jared Nelson. And having met him only on 3 occasions, the things that he said about Westfield resonated with me. And I knew that I wanted an opportunity to be part of a school system that was seeking to mold and build young people to be successful, to be committed, to be focused. It was something that I wanted to be a part of, and a lot of that came from him. So giving honor to him and having this opportunity to serve in this district is, to me, a true reward. And I really thank you for the opportunity, for thinking enough of me to grant me an interview and to be impressed. I was as impressed with you as you've been impressed with me, and I just look forward to learning from Mr. Getman and just everybody in the school district. I'm extremely appreciative of this opportunity. I know what it means to be here, and I just want to make you proud.
Thank you. Great. I'm sure all of the staff and the students at Roosevelt will welcome you with open arms and take us into a new chapter at Roosevelt. So it's going to be a very exciting year for everybody.
Thank you.
So thank you.
I look forward to it.
Okay. We'll move on to finance. I'd like the board to consider items number 1 through 11. Do I have a second, Brendan? I'd like to call out a couple of gifts that we've received. I'd like to accept a gift from the Westfield Coalition for the Arts to be used as follows. $1,763.49 to purchase instrument folders for Edison Intermediate School and orchestra students. $405 towards a professional development course at the Madison Mudd Ceramic Studio for Mrs. Fries from Edison Intermediate School. She's the art teacher there. $285 towards a professional development course at Montclair Museum for Ms. Suchi, right? From Roosevelt Intermediate School, the art teacher there. Also, $798 to purchase a new Wenger Strings bass rack for Jefferson School, and $288.95 to purchase Tackles art display boards. I thank you, and I appreciate the Westfield Coalition supporting our arts department. It's an amazing department, and if you see our concerts and the art displays that we do throughout our buildings and through town in the spring and so forth, you know that it'll go to good use. I'd also like to accept a gift in the amount of $1,767.50 from the Tamaqua School PTO to purchase chairs for the first grade. So thank you, and as always, we do appreciate everybody who gives us these gifts and helps us keep our schools as current as possible. So thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions? Okay.
Michael Beelan?
Yes.
Ken Diamond?
Yes.
Brendan Galligan?
Yes.
Robert Garrison?
Yes.
Brian Morrissey?
Yes.
Tara Porto?
Yes.
Peggy Astor?
Yes. And I don't think we have any official facilities report, but I thought if Dana would just give us an update on all of the many projects that she's been overseeing this summer.
Sure. So Kaler is looking great for anybody who hasn't been by there. We are just about done, other than laying the track. We are just waiting for the asphalt to finish curing. So I believe next week sometime, we were about a month after it was poured, so we should start laying the track. But the facility looks beautiful. The bathrooms are almost finished, so we are pretty much, we should be completely 100% done before the first football game, which I believe is September 14th, first The TV studio is well underway. That is not scheduled for completion by the start of school, but sometime probably in October, but they're moving along nicely on that. The door project, we are replacing most of the interior doors at the high school and then the 2 middle schools, and we're also installing security gates in those 3 schools. That project is also not scheduled for completion at the start of school, but it's also well underway and coming along nicely. We are doing renovations to bathrooms at the high school, both middle schools, and we are redoing the lobbies at both middle schools so that they are more in line with the new auditoriums that we have. That work is coming along great. The bathrooms look amazing in those schools. They're almost done as well. And the foyers, the lobbies are well underway and should be done in time for the completion of the start of school. The generator project, the generators are all in, and I believe they've all been started already. The part of the project that's not done yet for the generators is the volt servers. They're all being delivered, if not here already, and they're being hooked up. So the generators are working, but the entire project won't be done until sometime in the fall. And I think I'm missing some other project. Oh, McKinley, which we hadn't planned on being a big project. I mentioned that the previous meeting became a big project when we started repairing the floor and found that there was moisture underneath, water underneath. So the entire floor and subfloor has been removed. We did have our architect check it to make sure that structurally it was sound. We are working now with with the floor company to order the floor. The problem that we have there, the floor is in stock, so getting the material is not the issue, but getting the installers is the issue. Because we didn't plan this early because it was a surprise to us, we didn't have installers lined up. So that will not be done for the start of school, but we're hoping to get it done as quickly as we can, as soon as they finish other jobs that they're doing. Dr. Bujino is prepared to make other plans for the start of school. And most, if not all of that, we're working, part of what takes time with this is we have several different insurance companies involved. And so a large part of the cost will be covered by the insurance companies, but we have to have the adjusters involved and quotes and all that kind of stuff. But that project, it's going to be beautiful when it's done. It's just, we don't like to do these things that we hadn't planned ahead of time. So those are the major projects. We have a ton of small projects going on in the schools, and as well as just the normal summer cleaning. So it's all coming along, and it will be, schools will all be beautiful for the start of school, as they always are. Our maintenance guys and our custodians really work tremendously hard in the summer, and all of this construction does not make their jobs any easier. So.
Great. So when do we think, I have 2 questions. When do we think that McKinley will be?
Well, we're hoping that the installers will be available sometime in October to start, and it shouldn't be that long of a project, but we don't have any definite dates at this point.
So we'll hope for a nice, dry fall,
Yes.
so the kids can go outside and play
Yes.
outside and so
Yes.
forth.
That's the plan.
Yes, we will.
And also, in reference to Kaler, I believe the team should be, the fall teams usually come back sometime around now to start their
They're
practice.
already on the field.
So they're on the field?
Yes, yes.
So they just go over the track?
The track, we may have to displace them for a couple weeks because the track needs to dry once it gets laid.
Okay.
And we really don't want anybody to be there that can step on it or do anything like that. So we may have to displace them when we start laying the track for a week or 2. But the high school, Jim DeSarno and Sandy have been at every meeting. We meet weekly with the contractor, and they've been at every meeting, so they're well aware that they may have to be displaced for a little while.
Right, and the teams are all aware of it.
Yes,
So,
yes.
great, well, it's exciting, and it'll be even more exciting to get out and around. I'm not around town as much any longer, but when I drive by and so forth, everything looks great. So thank you for all of your diligence, and I know it's been a rough summer keeping everything together there.
I just have one question. With the recent change in the crossing guard situation, have there been regular contact back and forth between the district and the town? And also, do you have a sense of how many of the crossing guards have been utilized in the past are going to be retained and potentially if they're going to be keeping them in the same locations for familiarity?
I know that they have offered positions to all of the existing security, crossing guards, sorry. I don't know how many have decided to accept the position or not. My conversations with Jim Gilday, he feels that it's going to be a better situation than what it's been in the past because they've had so many positions that have not been filled and that they've had posts that have not been covered. So he thinks it's going to be better. I guess we'll have to see what happens.
And when we did meet with Mr. Goodday and also the chief, he also mentioned that they weren't changing positions of the crossing guards at this point. So they're keeping things during this transition time.
And also on that note, I know there have been some posts on Facebook and so forth about the, what they're responsible for. I mean, maybe when we start our school and so forth, if we can get the chief to speak about the corners that people are concerned with traffic and so forth. And I mean, I'm just concerned, for the safety of our students and understanding that if you can't get around a corner, some people get a little anxious and drive too fast or move around the corner too quickly. So I just want to make sure that, on any corner at whatever school where there's major crossing, that we're under control in reference to traffic. And I know it's their responsibility for, the crossing guards, God bless you, are hired by them, but I just think for the safety of our schools and so forth, I just want to, let parents know that, or have them let parents know that they're aware of the situation.
Right, and I believe the chief also said, hopefully with this new system, no longer will they have to pull police officers from their regular duty to be a crossing guard, which will allow the police to be there to help enforce the fact that people need to be safe when driving or parking or pulling out of parking, especially around schools. And that he hopes that's going to be able to be an area of emphasis once the new system is in place.
Great. Anything else? At this time, I'd like to recognize the public for any questions or comments. Seeing nobody come to the podium, I adjourn today's meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much for coming. And we'll see you next week. 2 weeks. 2 weeks.